without further ado, we will be reading a book by Miss Christy Matheson, and it is called Tap the Magic Tree. And we are going to see what exactly she means by tapping the magic tree. But the book is going to take us on a journey, and after we finish the book and glean from it or take from it any lessons or information that we might learn, we're going to spend some time making a craft. So if you have things with you to make a craft with, what you're going to need, if you want to grab it real quick, are some, I would say, 3 pieces of recycled paper, or printer paper, 3 pieces of paper, something to color with, markers, crayons, colored pencils, that's what I'll be using. And then you'll need some scissors and a glue stick, or just some glue, whatever you have, okay? So one more time, glue stick, scissors, something with which to color, and then some paper. Some pretty easy stuff to find. Hopefully you have that lying around your home or wherever you are right now. And then I'll go over all those again when we get started. Okay, but without further ado, this is Tap the Magic Tree by Christy Matheson. Tap the Magic Tree. I'm starting to like these illustrations. Excuse me. There's magic in this bare, brown tree. Tap it once. Turn the page to see. What happens if you tap a magic tree? Tap again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now tap again. Even more. What is happening? Rub the tree to make it warm. Touch each bud and see what forms. Touch each bud. Flower buds, maybe? Leaves are growing, flowers are growing. I wonder what season it is. Give the tree a little jiggle. That's it. Now make your fingers wiggle. Can you make your fingers wiggle? What happens when a tree wiggles its fingers? Brush away the petals, swish, and blow the tree a tiny kiss. Shake the tree. Plop, 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 plop. Kerplop. Knock, knock on the trunk. Then stop. What did we get? Pat the leaves, but be gentle, please. Aha! Now blow a whooshing breeze. Clap your hands to bring the snow. Okay, be patient. Be oh so patient. We gotta wait. Wait! Don't go. What's coming? Close your eyes and count to 10. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Magic! It begins again. This time with a bird and a baby bird in a nest. The end. Okay. Wow, what a great book. It takes us through the seasons and explores the magic that happens with trees as the year goes by. I love that book. Trees really are very cool, and it's like magic to see what they do as the weather changes around them. And as you can see, even the colors of the pages of the book changed as the seasons changed. So in the spring, like now, the leaves are starting to come out, and it's so nice and green. We've got pretty pink flowers on this tree. Pink pages. The bees come, the bees go, the flower petals drop, and our red apples come in the summer and fall. The leaves change in the fall to orange, and then it starts to get cold, and it's winter, so we have these nice blue pages. Very cool. Okay, so that book took us through the seasons and the life of a tree. So we are going to explore that some more on our own, and we are going to make something that's going to help us learn about that. Okay, so as promised, I'm going to go over what you need again if you'd like to follow along. We have colored pencils or markers or crayons, whatever you would like to color with. I have 3 pieces of blank paper. I recommend 3. You will also need some scissors, and a glue stick or a bottle of glue. Okay, and really quickly, if you bear with me, I'm going to show you a picture of what we're eventually going to make. So you have an idea of what we're working toward. So I'm going to share my screen. And now you should see a picture. You should have gotten a link to this web page if you registered for this story time. Here is the URL up here. You can type that in so you can look at this whenever you want. But here's what we're going to make. It is a tree stand that is the same tree, and then on each side there is a different season shown. So here are the steps that we are going to take together. We're going to draw our trees, we're going to fold them, cut them, and then eventually glue them together like so. Now, I will say right now that I did some of this ahead of time so that we can move fast and be done close to 10 o'clock. Okay, but you can always go to that web page to remember how to do things so that you can work at your own speed. Okay? Now, first things first. Well, first things first, I'm going to change my camera over to my phone so that you can actually see what I'm doing in front of me. But you are going to need a pencil or a colored pencil, and we're going to make a tree stencil. So that's our first step. Bear with me for 1 second, and you will see my phone's camera. Okay. Here we go. Oh, there I am. Okay. All right. So on your screen, you should see my workspace in front of me. I'm going to move my banana so that's out of the way. Set this aside for right now. Okay. So we are going to make a stencil like this. And this is going to help all of our trees for our tree stand be the same shape and the same size. Okay? Now I made this ahead of time. I'm going to show you how to make your own. So I'm going to take my colored pencils. I'm just going to pull out the black one and draw some nice dark lines. So what we need to do first, I'm going to try and actually draw this upside down for you so that you can follow along if you're ready. We're going to draw the ground, so just 2 little curved lines like this. And then, there we go. From there, I'm going to draw the trunk that kind of gets thinner as you get to the top, but don't close it off. Just 2 lines just like that. And then if you want, you can try and draw a circle like this without anything, or if you're like me and you don't trust yourself drawing a circle, you can get something round, like a roll of duct tape or a glass or a cup, maybe something out of the pantry that is a round shape. And then I'm going to just trace it like so. And then having this made ahead of time is going to save us so much time. Okay. Now these lines are a bit too long here. That's okay. Remember, this is a stencil that we're using. So this does not have to be pretty. Now, I would cut this out. So if you're caught up and if you're following along, go ahead and cut this out. If I'm moving a little bit faster than you, that's okay. Take your time. Use good craftsmanship so that you can have a high quality product or really good work at the end. The steps that we're going to follow are pretty simple, and you'll catch on pretty quickly as to what each step is going to be. Okay, now I have my stencil and I can set this paper aside. I have two of these now, actually. One's a little bit bigger, that's okay. I used the same size paper for the one I just made, so it's going to make sure that the trees are all going to fit on the rest of our paper. Okay. So now we have our stencil, and then we have two more pieces of paper. Mine's recycled paper. It's got things on the back side. I'm going to use the blank side, and I'm going to ask you to fold these in half. Pretty please. Both pieces of paper stacked together. You can fold them in half. So I have a stack of paper now. They're folded in half. And if you would like to, just to help yourself see the two halves, quick little dotted lines. And then on each side of the paper, now you're going to trace your leaf stencil. Remember, we made the stencil so that we could trace. Now we're making our trees. Okay, so I'm just going to put my stencil down, make sure it fits, and I'm just going to trace it with a colored pencil. If you have a marker or a crayon, that works too. Make sure you're holding your stencil in place. You don't want your stencil to move, so try as hard as you can. Press down. If your pencil or marker gets onto your stencil, that's fine. Your stencil is a tool. It does not need to be pretty. Now let's see how I did. Voila! Okay. Do it again on the other side. What's that? Okay, so now I have two trees. Now you need to do four. So you need to move this paper. Underneath, I have some more blank paper. You're going to do that again. So really quickly, dotted line if you want, just so that you can see the two halves. Quick trace. Oop. If you hear me say, oop, that's because I made a mistake, and that's okay, because we are always learning. It does not have to be perfect. We just have to like what we're making. Okay, so now I have four of these. There are four seasons: spring, summer, fall, winter, or autumn. A lot of people like to call fall autumn. So one tree for each season. Now we need to draw a tree in each of our shapes that looks like or is colored like what a tree looks like in that season. And so our book gave us a lot of good hints as to what colors we would use, what's on the tree in each season. So it might be completely bare in the winter. It might be green in the summer. It might have pink or orange or red flowers on it in the spring. And it might be really nice colors like orange, purple, red, yellow. The leaves would be those colors in the fall. So I'm going to skip ahead now, and I'm going to show you what I made ahead of time, because I think coloring is going to take the most time. And so I don't have time to color all of these in front of you. So here's what I have. Here's my summertime, where the leaf, or the tree, excuse me, has all of its leaves. It's nice and green. The grass underneath it is green, and it's got a nice blue sky behind it. In the winter, you can see it. It's got some snow on the branches. There are some snowflakes in the sky. The sky is also blue, but there are no leaves. So it's very green, or sorry, not very green at all. There's no green in the picture. Here's my springtime picture. There are orange flowers growing all over my tree with some leaves starting to bud out. The grass is green again underneath the tree with a blue sky. And in the fall, I've got some yellow and orange leaves that are still on the tree. Some of them are falling, and a lot have fallen on the ground. And there's just sort of like a yellow background behind to help represent or show the season of autumn. So I colored those, I drew the tree. If you'd like help drawing the tree itself, I can do that really quickly. So, let's see if I can do this upside down too. To draw the tree, I would draw a base, just like that. That's the bottom of our tree where it goes into the ground. Then the trunk is going to come up, up, up like that. You can use these two outside lines as a guide. Excuse me, my phone went to sleep. All right, there we go. And then our branches, they just kind of hook out, hook down, hook back. You can make them fat branches, very thick. You can make them really skinny branches if you want. It is all up to you. Some branches can have different limbs sticking out of them. Going to the other side now. It looks kind of like a crab's claw. That's all right. And down like that. So you're just drawing a bunch of hooks off the center of the tree. And some of them can have little claws at the end. If you turn it that way, it looks kind of like a boot. So be creative, draw your own shapes. If you think a tree wants to have, if you want your tree to have a different shape, that's fine. It's when we get to the coloring of each season where the differences really show. All right, so I have about 3 to 5 minutes left with you. So I'm going to show you what we would do next. We're going to cut out our colored trees. We're almost done. Again, I think the coloring part takes the longest, at least it did for me. So please take your time with that. You're probably nowhere close to being done if you're working along with me. And that's okay. Just go ahead and pay attention to me right now so you know what to do when you're done coloring. Oh, sorry about that. Not everybody knows that I am in the middle of a story time. Okay, so there's one. Cut out my spring. I'm going to cut out my autumn real quick. And voila. Now here's where I can show you that it's why it was important for us to use a stencil. So these should be the same shape, right? Because I traced the exact same stencil for both of them. So now I need to fold them in half, and I'm going to use the circle part as a way to tell that I'm folding it in half. Make sure the bottom is lined up. Okay. So as in half as you can make it. Put the corners together. Make sure the bottom is lined up. Then fold. Do that with your next one. So I'm, just so you can see, I have my tree. Fold the fold the bottom in half actually. Make sure the bottom is lined up. Put the corners together. Crease it down. And then slowly crease it up from there. Okay, so now I have two of my trees that are folded in half, and I'm looking at the time, and I know you guys probably need to go. So really quickly, what I'll show you is that your next step is going to be gluing these in half, or sorry, gluing these together along this side. So just take your glue stick or your glue. Here's mine. You probably just need to rub it on one side. And then lay the next one. Line up the creases. That's where you want to fold them in half, or that's where you want to glue them. Along the crease where it's folded in half. And then, voila. It should maybe stand up if I unfold it a little bit. Yeah. So there's my springtime. Now, when you get done coloring and cutting out your other two seasons, you would glue them along these sides that are still showing until you have 4 seasons showing all the way around. And then you'll have 4 legs with which it'll stand up. And it's a nice way to decorate your kitchen table, your bedside tables, anywhere in your house really, to celebrate the 4 seasons. And you can even turn it to face the room to represent the season that we're currently in, which is spring. We have a lot of pretty flowers and bees buzzing around.